All right, in this video, we're going to talk about loan amortization schedules. So when a loan is paid off through a series of regular payments, it is said to be amortized, which literally means to be killed off. So although each payment is the same, every month you send the same exact monthly payment to your mortgage broker, with each successive payment, the interest portion decreases and the principal portion increases. So even though you pay the same payment every single month, at the beginning of your loan, a lot of that payment goes toward interest. But as you continue paying every month over the years, more of your payment is going to go toward paying the balance and less of it is going to go toward interest. A document showing important information about the status of your mortgage is called a loan amortization schedule. So you can see as you make your monthly payments how much is going toward interest and how much is going toward paying off your home or the principal. So in this example number 2, we're going to prepare a loan amortization schedule for the first 2 months. We're not going to do it for every single month. That would take us forever. But we are going to do it for the first couple months so you can kind of see when you make your payment how much actually goes to interest and then how much goes to your principal. So if you look at the information that they give us in example number 2, it says here that our interest rate or the interest rate on this person's mortgage is 9.5%. The amount of the mortgage was $130,000. It looks like this is for a 15-year loan, so that's 180 payments every month for 15 years. And it looks like they already calculated the monthly payment for us, and it looks like the monthly payment is going to be $1,357.50. So that is our mortgage payment every single month. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at that very first month. After this person sends in their payment, the $1,357.50, how much of that is going to go to the bank for interest, and how much of that is going to go toward actually paying off their home, the principal. And at the end of that 1 month, how much is left over on the loan. Then we're going to do it again for month number 2 so we can see how much is going to go to interest then versus the principal amount, and then how much is left on the balance. You'll be able to see how much of a difference it makes each month as you continue making that monthly payment. And then you can imagine at the 180th payment how much would go to interest versus the principal. All right, so let's start with month number 1. What we want to figure out is how much interest we're going to pay so that we can figure out how much of that $1,300 is going to go toward interest. So you might need to think back to a previous section where we talked about calculating interest. And there was a formula we used to figure out just the amount of interest based on the principal amount, the balance. Remember, it's PRT. The principal, the interest rate, and how the time in years, right? So the principal amount, the amount of this mortgage, the balance, remember, is the $130,000. That was the amount of this mortgage they told us at the beginning. Our interest rate, remember, was the 9.5%. As a decimal, we're going to plug in 0.095. And now how long are we going to be charged this interest for? Here's the tricky part. You've got to be careful. Yes, this loan is going to be for 15 years. We're going to make this payment every month for 15 years. But on this particular amount, the $130,000, we actually only owe that exact amount for 1 month, right? Because after that 1 month, doesn't that balance get knocked down a little bit because we sent in a payment? And so for this time, we are only going to be charged interest, the 0.095, on this exact amount of $130,000 for 1 month out of the year. So I'm going to say 1 out of 12. I'm not going to say 1 right there because that would mean interest for 1 whole year. But I'm only being charged interest on the 1 month because then it's going to change in the second month because I made a payment. I'm going to calculate that using my calculator, 130,000 times 0.095 times 1 over 12, and I ended up getting $1,029.17. What that means is that $1,029.17 is the amount we pay in interest in that first month. So even though we sent the payment of $1,357, $1,029 of that is just going to the bank. If $1,029 is going to the bank in interest, well then how much is going to paying off the actual home? Well, if the payment your monthly payment was the $1,357.50, and $1,029 and that's supposed to be a 17. I don't know where my 7 went. $1,029.17 went to interest. Well, then we subtract to figure out how much difference the amount is going to go to the principal. I end up getting $328.33 is going to paying off my home. So even though I sent the bank over $1,300, really a little over $300 of that is paying off my home. The rest is going to the bank in interest. That's a lot, right? Okay, after that first month then, some of my house is paid off, not a lot, but some of it. And so then what's the balance of my loan now? What's left over that I still have to pay? Well, remember, the original amount was the $130,000. And remember, $328.33 went to paying off that principal. So what's the difference? What amount is left at the end of that first month? Well, we still owe $129,671.67. That would be my balance after the first payment. We got a long way to go, don't we? All right, we're going to do it again for month number 2. So let's see if you can pause the video and use that same process to figure out what your interest amount will be on the second month. Now be careful, your principal amount, your loan amount has changed a little bit. It's not $130,000 anymore. Remember, we've paid off a little bit. So use that new loan balance to figure out what your interest is, figure out then how much went to your principal, and then figure out your new loan balance after you make that second payment. All right, here we go. Let's figure out the interest. Our new loan amount, remember, was the $129,671 that we now owe after making our first payment. Our interest rate is still the same. It's the 9.5% or 0.095 as a decimal. And how long are we going to be charged interest on this exact amount? Remember, it's only for 1 month, so 1/12 of the year, because we're only charged interest on this same exact amount for only the 1 month because I'm going to make a payment and then my balance is going to change. That means when I send in my second payment, $1,026.57 is now going to interest. You can see that a little less went to interest on that second month. And every time I make a payment, less and less and less of my payment is going to go toward interest, and hopefully more of it is going to go toward paying off my home. So you can kind of see that even though it's a little bit, it adds up every single month for the next 15 years. Let's figure out then, if $1,026 of my payment goes to interest, what's the rest that goes to the balance? So if my payment, remember, was the $1,357.50, but $1,026 goes to interest, then the difference, if I subtract, would be $330.95. That's the amount that's going to go toward my balance, paying off my home. So you can see how that increased a little bit. The interest amount decreased and my principal payment amount increased. Just a little bit, but still better than nothing, right? All right, if $330 came off of my balance, let's figure out what my new balance is. Now be careful. Remember, we want to start with the balance at the end of that first month, not the original balance, because I already made one payment. Now after making my second payment, I want to figure out how much is left over. So I'm going to take the balance after month number 1. I'm going to subtract the amount that came off of my principal to figure out my new balance after month number 2. So I'm going to take the $129,671.67. I'm going to subtract off the $330.95 that went to the principal amount, not interest, and I'm going to get my new balance at the end of month number 2. Going into month number 3 is going to be $129,340.74. So you can see as you fill out this loan amortization schedule how the interest rate, oops, I accidentally deleted. There we go. You can see how our interest amount is getting lower, our principal amount is getting higher, and our loan balance is slowly being paid off every single month. Even though we make the same exact monthly payment every single month, you can see how the kind of balance switches and changes over time so that more of your payment goes toward principal versus the interest. So we only did the first 2 months because we would have to do that every single month for the next 15 years, but you get an idea of what it kind of looks like. If you look down below though, I've given you a loan amortization schedule that's a little bit more filled out. I've given you the first 4 months, then I gave you month 30 and 31, and then I kind of gave you a couple of different chunks of the different months throughout. It doesn't give you all 180, but you can kind of see as you look through the different payments that the interest rate is going, the interest amount is going lower. So at the end, your last payment, you only give your bank $9 in interest, right? That feels a lot better than $129, $1,029 at the beginning. And then you can see as your payments go through at the end of those 15 years that more of your payment goes toward the principal than it does interest. So in the end, you end up paying off your home after those 15 years. Okay, it's called a loan amortization schedule. Make sure you can calculate how much will go to interest. Make sure you can calculate how much will go to the principal so you can figure out your new loan balance.